Welcome back to Nick Lenz. It's Comic Corner Classic, that's known classic. This is episode number 1337 and Doubleshot number 1231. I have two trades related to the group X-Force. Well, this is the Strike Force version. First, let's come across their very first crossover they're involved with after the formation. We have from X-Men Milestones, Messiah War. This came out, believe it or not, 2009. Yes, 12 years ago, believe it or not. Yes, this book collects, this is the entire event, which is basically the one shot that started off, X-Force / Cable Messiah War, Cable Volume 2, issues 13, 15, and X-Force Volume 3, issues 14 and 16. Craig Cowell and Chris Shields write X-Force. Dwayne Sorzinski writes Cable. Now, the artwork in here is quite interesting. Of course, they also include X-Men Future History Messiah War Sourcebook. Now, for the X-Force, now the main one-shot itself is done by Mike Cody, Cho, and Sonia Abek. The Cable issues, basically, this is taking about 3 issues of this one. Parts 2, 4, and 6 are done by Ariel Alavati. And you have Clayton Crane doing the artwork. Yep. Now, the cover here is for this book cover here. This is by Mike Cho and Son Ubuk, who does the cover for, also for, like, well, the entire main book. The back cover, that's done by Carrie Andrews. Yes, this is a Carrie Andrews cover, which is a really good cover, by the way. Now, what's the backstory for this one? Okay, Cable took Hope to the future after the events of Messiah War. If you're curious, though, that happened back in 2007. Well, actually about 2008. That was about 13 years ago. Takes to the future the Razor to become the Mutant Messiah. Followed by Bishop, who was turned villain, shaved his head bald, lost an arm, got a mechanical arm, and pretty much Hope grew up basically having Bishop as a boogeyman. Now, in this storyline, we actually have to start with in the present, where Cyclops has found out where Cable is. And he figured out Cable needs some help. So he's like, Logan. He's like, yeah, I found out where Hope is. I'm sitting there right now. He's like, wait, what? Well, I'm in the middle of something here. And he's like, screw it. Smacks a button, and Beast is there, and they're sent straight to the future. I think it's like 23, I think it was like 2393, I think it was. Let's see, what year was it? They say he was in. They found him in the year, let's see. $29.73. Now, I at least got handed to the artwork from Mike Choi. This is actually really good artwork. It's artwork you would definitely see if you were reading comic books in the late 2000s. Yes, it's the artwork. So, Sense the Future. So, and by the way, X-Force is not comprised of the current lineup we have nowadays. This lineup is comprised of Wolverine, Archangel, Domino, Elixir. Yes, Elixir from the new X-Men books, who were basically a teenage group. Yeah, he's part of the X-Force. Along with X-23, well, the current Wolverine, one of two Wolverines actually. Warpath, and you're probably thinking, really? He's part of X-Force. The second villain the X-Men fought ever in the franchise. The Vanisher. Yep, the Vanisher. That's interesting, though, the fact that it's like that. Yes, the frickin' Vanisher is part of X-Force. Which makes it the first time, like, first one since, I would probably say, Emma Frost, who's a former X-Men villain, to join an X-Men team, aka X-Force. And mostly put X-Force has basically been, prior to this, mostly dealing with the Purifiers. They're basically dealing with the dark stuff the X-Men don't want to get involved with. Basically, they do the X-Men's dirty work. They're a strike team assembled by Cyclops. Of course, by the way, the X-Men at this point are actually headquartered out of San Francisco. Not the Xavier Institute. Oh no, that was destroyed during Messiah Complex. Now, I get the reason why Marvel did this, basically including X-Force and Cable, two series that were not involved in that crossover. Well, for good reason. They were published right afterwards. Yep. And they do, in fact, run into Cable. They also run into a few other people. The first person they run into is freaking Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool. A future version of Deadpool who is here because he's immortal. Yep. And you probably think, okay, is Bishop the main villain of the story because Bishop's here? No, he isn't. Oh boy, you're probably thinking, really? This guy's the villain. We have Strife. Yes, Cable's clone is the main villain of the story. Yep. And by the way, Bishop looks like this in this story arc. Yeah, this is the way he looked this period of time. And it seems as though half the time, some artists tend to basically forget what side of his eye the M goes on. I'm sure Libdell himself, I didn't get a chance to talk to Libdell about the story, this period. I'm sure he probably was not happy that a character he created was turned to a villain. But that was basically Marvel at that point. They wanted to make Bishop a villain for some reason. So, Bishop wants to kill Hope, and Strife is wondering, did you really try to kill that child? And he's like, yeah. Like, okay, why you want to kill that child for? Because he believes that she'll bring about the end of the world because he's from future stuff. And Apocalypse is here. Yes, Apocalypse, and he works with X-Force. Though this is Cable's Apocalypse. Yeah, El Salvador in the future. And it's definitely a good story, but the thing is, you have two different series with two different artists on here. Creighton Crane, who does the main book, by the way. Now this is Ariel, what is her name here? Ariel Alavati. Not bad artist per se. Like, this is how she draws frickin' Cable. I mean, the way she draws Cable here, I mean, the way you look at him, he kind of mistaken for Ash Williams from the Evil Dead series. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. So, you're probably curious, so how does this artist draw Wolverine? Get a pic of him. Let's see. And look, here's Strife. Like, the artist basically does a good job drawing Strife. It's actually really good. And here's Wolverine. You're probably thinking, wait, that's Wolverine? Like, yeah, apparently the artist decided to draw him look a little bit older than he does in the other artwork. Now, I'm not saying this artist is terrible. It's just basically a bit jarring to go from this artwork to this nice, shiny, bright artwork to Creighton Crane's artwork. Which is very, let's say, very dark. But still has a good amount of colors with it. Trying to find a good picture because like a lot of violence in the scene. Let's see if I can find a good picture here. Oh, here's a good picture right here. And I love this scene between Hope and Laura. Yeah, this is how he draws them. It's actually not bad. Yeah, this scene right here, this is from part 2 of the story. Well, part 3 actually. And she's like, you're a girl. I know. I'm mutant. I know. Hope. This is Cable. Are you a mutant too? She's like, yes. Nathan's an X-Man. Are you an X-Man? No, I'm not. Why did you come here? You're trying to leave. Why would you come here? Is there a bad man chase you? Yes. We're here to stop him. Okay. This scene is fantastic and shows us the fact that Chris Jones and Craig Kyle know how to write Laura. It's an absolute... It's a great moment in this book. And then we have Vanisher talking to Elixir, and then Domino talking to Deadpool. Yeah. And of course, Deadpool just frequently hitting on Domino the whole time. My only guess is the reason why that Chris Yost and Craig Kyle wrote Deadpool this way is because Rob Liefeld created him, Domino, and frickin' Strife. Yeah, you have 3 Rob Liefeld characters in this very story, which that's interesting to say the least. Now, yes, this is a future version of Deadpool, but technically Deadpool is a creation of Rob Liefeld. And of course, Archangel runs into he runs into Apocalypse. Now, because of the fact they're capable of the story, look, we have a variant cover by Rob Liefeld. Yes, this is a Rob Liefeld cover. My guess is Rob Liefeld was contacted about this story. He's probably like, hey, can I do some, even they probably don't want to do interior artwork, can I do a variant covers? And Marvel's like, sure, Rob, whatever. Just do it, and make sure you give us the ones on time. Rob Liefeld is, from what I've heard about him, he's notorious for his laziness and stuff being frequently late. Case in point, his Youngblood series. Yep. And this story is told really well, and it's got good humor in it. And I think that both writers do an absolute great job. At one point, Strife convinces Hope that she's his actual father, not biological, but basically he's the real Cable. We got to take out his mask. Like, oh, Strife also has the same face as Cable. Readers have known that for decades. I'm not sure. I get the reason why Hope is shocked by it, but in the case of Wolverine, yeah, he's probably known for some time. And well, they spend the whole story trying to get him back. They eventually do. And then after this, at the end of the story, Strife apparently becomes the host for Apocalypse because Strife overthrew Apocalypse. And of course, there's also mention of Celestials in here, which Apocalypse is heavily associated with the Celestials. And well, not much else to say about it. I mean, Strife becomes the thing, and that was his last appearance for, get this, and you're gonna love this, that was his last appearance for 5 years. Yes, Strife. Which I think that prior to the story, I think Strife himself did not really appear for quite some time. Yeah, he's a character that Marvel didn't use very much. And I guess they figured, okay, why not basically have him here. This is definitely a good story. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute great story. And I do recommend people fans X-Force. And of course Cable. And if you're a Rob Liefeld fan, you might enjoy this. Now, I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5. This is a damn good story. And by far, one of the best X-Men stories. Now, it's a very self-contained event. It only just involves these two series. It's not a big, like, shattering, altering thing like Messiah Complex was. This is the sequel to Messiah Complex. Now, here's the thing. The follow-up to this comes the following year, with Second Coming, which has Cable return to the present. With Hope Summers when she's a teenager. Now, in the case of what the group did afterwards, now, there was this woman known as the Separate Queen. And when they decided to come back, Laura was trying to prevent the death of a friend of hers who was killed by the Separate Queen prior to this, and she succeeded when they returned to the present. They were able to avert the characters, and that's what happened after this. And then came the Rosha. Yep, the Rosha X came right after that. Then Second Coming, and that was it for X-Force. Yeah, some really good stuff here. I would say Narosha itself was something that Chris Yost and Craig Kyle have been building towards since the start of the run, which I've reviewed the story before and I've read it a couple times. It is a great story. Like, wow. Creighton Crane, he does an absolute great job with the story. And here, does a great job with it. It's only like, I think like at the time was the second crossover. Now, I met Creighton Crane. This was about a few years ago. It was at Comic-Con. And prior to that, the last book I could think of he worked on at that point was when he worked on Rye. Which, yeah, that was his most recent book he worked on. I mean, aside from this, now, he told me his favorite character to draw this book was frickin' Wolfsbane. He loved drawing Wolfsbane. She was in this group, I think, like not long after the story wrapped up. I believe so. That or she was up behind. Now, Laura herself was a part of the group until Narosha X. Warpath would also quit after Narosha X. But here's the interesting thing. When this group basically have ended their run back in 2010 when they was reformed as Uncanny X-Force, only Wolverine and Angel stayed. Everybody else left and did their own thing. Domino went to the main team of X-Men. Laura got a spin-off book. Warpath, I think, went back to the X-Men. Elixir just did whatever. And, well, of course, Hope herself would later on stay with the X-Men briefly before forming Generation Hope. A group basically meant to, sort of in the way, help restore, help people who unlock their mutant powers. Good concept. Didn't last very long. It lasted about a year or two before the book got canceled because of Schism. I think it lasted about a year. Alright, next up was a different X-Force book. That was 2009. This came out in 2013. This came out just after the first Uncanny X-Force wrapped up. We actually have Uncanny X-Force Volume 1, Let It Bleed, by Sam Humphries. Yes, Sam Humphries making... Wait, Sam Humphries? You mean the guy behind Star-Lord? No, not Star-Lord. Yeah, he actually wrote Star-Lord. He wrote the Legendary Star-Lord series, Green Lanterns, Illuminati. You might be thinking, wait, he also wrote Uncanny X-Force? Yeah, he did. For about a year and a half. This is the first trade that collects the first 6 issues of the run. And if you see the characters lined up on the cover, well, that's not the initial lineup. Now, in this run, one of the biggest things about this run that I wasn't really liking very much is the way too much focus on frickin' Bishop. Because Bishop comes back here. Bishop had not been seen in Marvel Comics for 3 years because he got stranded in the future. And one of the plots of this run is figuring out exactly what the heck happened to him during the 3 years he was not seen. So, at the end of the previous book, we have X-Force disbanding. So, we actually have a new X-Force forming. This time based out of LA, not going all over the place like basically the previous X-Force team was known for doing. And Phantom X is here, but he's not part of the team. Nope, he's doing his own thing with his clone sister who he's sleeping with. I'm not kidding about that. Yeah, and later on, this woman, they were part of basically a story arc involving something what was going with her. Apparently, get this, between the end of the first volume and this volume, there have been 6 months that passed by. And here's something interesting, though. Okay, so Betsy broke up with Phantom X because they started dating in the Otherworld story, and they were a couple up until the end of the volume. And then here it's like, oh, they broke up. Oh, and here's something interesting, though. Humphries has it where, like, several of the characters are swearing. Yes, lots of swearing. So you have sense of words being not like having asterisks, but oh no, we actually have black lines. I'm not kidding about that. So, apparently, Betsy Braddock has not been the same. She's part of X-Force. So, she decides to, well, she was at the school for a while, and apparently she beat up Quentin Quintire. So Wolverine's like, take a break. So, sent off mission with frickin' Storm, who was the head mistress, but thinking, wait, how the heck did she become the head mistress? Well, after the events of AVX, and they mentioned in here, her marriage to Black Panther was annulled. Well, it was dissolved, basically. Yes, because she sided with the X-Men against the Avengers. Here's the thing. I think a lot of readers, even still now, still think that was an absolute terrible idea to do for Storm. So what did she do? Let's have Wolverine trim her hair down to mohawk and start a relationship with him. Okay, whatever. Oh yeah, and she's the head mistress now. How did that happen? I thought Kitty Pryde was the head mistress. Well, she decided to step down because she took over teachership over... Anyways, yeah, she decided to take up a teachership over the young X-Men who were transported to prison, the original 5, transported to prison by Beast in the all-new X-Book. That's the reason why for that. So, they fly out to L.A. You're probably thinking, why the heck are they going to L.A. for? Because they're meeting up with frickin' Puck. Yes, Puck. By the way, here's the weird thing about this group. It's mostly a female lineup. I'm not kidding about that. So, they're there just to deal with some drug dealer who turns out to be freaking Spiral, who apparently has been transported to the, 616 from a world. Apparently, Mojo's disavowed us, but I think currently they're fine now. It's Marvel half the time doesn't know what to do with Mojo because he's a creation and the Senti. So then they, of course, they come across this girl where apparently they say that Spiral was a drug dealer, even though the drug is actually her. And of course, Bishop shows the present. Also, he apparently is growling. You are thinking, why the heck is Bishop growling? And when the heck did he take time? Now, he was missing for a long time, so I get the fact why he grew his hair, but having a beard too. But why the growling, per se? Well, he's possessed by the Demon Bear. You're probably asking, Nick, what is the Demon Bear? It was some entity from the original Mutant series. This technically isn't the same Demon Bear. This is a Demon Bear from the future, who hid in, Bishop's psyche, and of course they mentioned something about the Ghost Owl. Yeah, that becomes a recurring plot thread of this run too. Oh yeah, basically the way Sam Humphries writes Bishop, Betsy, Psylocke per se, writes her to be some odd character, like she really wants to kill Spiral so badly, because apparently at one point, Spiral took a hostage and tried to have needles gouged into her eyes. I'm like, when the heck did that happen? I don't remember that happening. Yeah, it's been a few years since I read this book. Like, wow, it's just so something here. Mm-hmm. Yep. And let's see. Oh yeah, they deal with other things here, and we have this funny scene here of one of the things that, of course, we see Puck on top of Bishop, like he's basically beating them. Like, yeah, this guy beaten by a guy who's 4 foot nothing. Oh yeah, and also the way Sam Humphries writes Puck in here is that he's hitting on both Betsy and Stormer at the same time. He's like, man, I am such a lucky guy. And here's the thing, though. Apparently, Puck is leader of this team. Yes, Puck is leader. And Storm's like, no, I'm headmistress. He's like, well, that works in a school, but not here. I'm the boss of this team. Wait, I thought you were part of Alpha Flight, Puck. Yeah, that part was never explained. Like, why the heck is Puck even here? Per se. Like, is he a spy? Whatever, I'm not really sure. But this is just the start of this weird run. And by the way, they put this at the same time as another X-Force series. Yes, they launched a book just prior to this one called Cable and X-Force, which Humphries wrote that too. Yep. That book lasted 19 issues. This one was 17. Oh yeah, and what about the whole thing with Phantom X? Okay, apparently him and his clone sister, who he's in a sexual relationship with, apparently he's been robbing stuff, and they're apparently in a romantic relationship. Dude, you basically are dating your clone sister, so why the heck are you doing this for? Yeah, why is he dating your clone sister for? I have no idea. So, they apparently Phantom X has still used toothbrushes belonging to Barack Obama and Queen Elizabeth II. Why in the world would they want used toothbrushes for? To me, that sounds absolutely disgusting. Like, why the heck would you even want these damn things? Like, maybe for a display piece, but don't put it in your damn mouth. You know what that thing has been. Yeah, and then of course you have, you have Betsy herself being dragged out by the female Phantom X off someplace. What drag off to? Well, that's explained in the following trade. And it is weird to say the least. And the writer outs Betsy as something I did not expect Betsy to be. But this book is okay. It doesn't explain a lot of stuff, but it's a good start. I'm going to get the book roughly 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, unlike the other book, this book is just okay at best. It's not exactly a book people tend to talk about that came out during the Marvel Now initiative that came out in 2012. Yes, believe it or not, this is one of those books that was launched part of it. Yeah, because look, see that logo? That was in all the Marvel books for about a year before the logo was dropped, and was like that, well, like for a while. And yeah, it was the start of one of Marvel's stupid relaunch initiatives. Like every year or two, we had to have a new initiative. We had this. We had all new Marvel now. We had all new, all different Marvel now. We had another Marvel now in 2016. Happened a year after all new different Marvel now. And then we had a couple of initiatives. One was Marvel Legacy. That was actually very positively received. Yep, that was positively received because that initiative did not call for all the frickin' books, or at least most of them, hitting the restart button. Fresh Start did, but at least they did something new with this one. It was like one more relaunch they just had to do, just cause. I didn't like the concept of it, but the stories they put out are actually quite good. And unlike some other books, basically, where like a lot of them didn't last very long, under the current initiative, Fresh Start, maybe one or two books since ended. Not many of them per se, but all of them are good. Shockingly good. I've never come across a bad book under the Fresh Start initiative. The only book, I think it was the first book I canceled because of initiative, was, off the top of my head, was Sentry. Yes, The Sentry. Yeah, he had a brief ongoing story by Jeff Lemire, which ended after 7 issues, believe it or not. Yep. Why it ended, I have no idea. Though here's the strange thing about Sentry. He's dead. We're thinking, wait, how the heck that happened? He got killed by Null of the Sword of King in Black last year. Yes. After 10 years after his debut. No, 20 years after his debut, he dies again. This is the second time he's died. Last time he died was 10 years prior at the hands of heroes when he was killed at the end of the event Siege. Yep. But not much to say with the 2 trades. Messiah War is awesome. Uncanny X-Force Volume 1, Let It Bleed is okay. I will discuss the other 2 trades when I get them, okay? So yeah, that's it for this review. Thank you for my reviews for One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Boruto, okay? See you next video. Bye.